You think Marvel is winning the comic book war, but you've been lied to. They're not. At least, not where it truly counts. The common misconception born from 1,000 blockbuster movies is that Marvel is an unstoppable juggernaut, a sales behemoth that crushes DC at every turn. But a quiet, brutal, and data-driven battle has been raging for years on a secret second front. A front where one of these publishers isn't just winning, they're absolutely dominating. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain on the sales war nobody talks about and reveal the shocking truth of who's really on top. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're putting on our proverbial tinfoil hat, diving into a report that should send a shockwave through the industry. The rivalry between Marvel and DC isn't just a friendly back and forth, it's a two-front war, and the victory is split right down the middle. According to a year-end report from ICV2, the overall comics and graphic novel market in the US and Canada was a whopping $1.94 billion in 2024. But here's the kicker. The market is not a single unified entity. It's two separate battlegrounds. The direct market, which is your traditional comic book store, and the book channel, which includes everyone from Amazon to Barnes & Noble. That's the entire game right there. Let's start with the front you're probably most familiar with, the direct market, the hallowed halls of the comic book shop. For decades, this was the entire industry, and on this front, Marvel's power is undeniable. They are the single-issue titans, the kings of the monthly floppy. In 2024, the ICV2 and Bleeding Cool reports confirmed Marvel's absolute dominance in this space. Just look at the list of bestsellers. You've got Ultimate Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man, even though the latter has had some troubles of late, leading the charge, with Marvel titles consistently occupying the top spots. This is a testament to the Marvel fan, who is a habitual, committed consumer. That's where we get the phrase Marvel zombie from. This fan lives and breathes the ongoing narrative, the shared universe, and is willing to show up every Wednesday no matter what, come hell or high water, to find out what happens next. They are the audience for the soap opera, the long-form story. But here's where it gets interesting, and here is a question you need to ask yourself. If Marvel is so utterly dominant in the direct market, why didn't their overall market share reflect a complete rout? What if there's an entire other side to this coin, a second front, where DC isn't just competing, but thriving? The second front is the book channel. And according to the same ICV2 year-end report, this market grossed approximately $1.1 billion. That is more than the direct market. And in this realm, DC is not just holding their own, they're running a clinic. The Screen Rant and ComicsBeat reports from 2024 show DC published graphic novels, particularly their iconic Batman stories, and new reader-friendly titles are consistently selling like hotcakes. The DC fan is a different beast entirely. They're not necessarily a weekly visitor to the comic shop. They're the reader who picks up a critically acclaimed story or a beautifully packaged graphic novel at a bookstore. They are looking for self-contained, high-quality, long-form narratives. The Batman fan, the Sandman fan, they want a complete story in their hands, not a series of cliffhangers. This disparity reveals the core disconnect. Marvel is built for the subscription model of the direct market. It's built for the serial, for the lifelong fan who wants to follow every twist and turn of a shared universe. DC, on the other hand, has managed to perfect the individual finite story. They're not just selling comics, they're selling works of literature, and they're doing it in a market that is fundamentally larger than the one Marvel dominates. It's a bit like comparing a marathon runner to a sprinter. Marvel, the weekly sprinter, zips ahead on the direct market track, but DC, the marathon runner, is winning the race because they've learned to run on a much, much bigger road. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. What does this mean for the future? And why does this unspoken war matter to you, the comic book fan? We have to look at the audience archetypes. The Marvel fan, as this report from ICV2 and Screen Rant suggests, is a collector. They're completionists. They read not just for a single story, but for the entire tapestry. They're driven by major events, your civil wars, your secret wars, and the fear of missing out on a key moment in the greater saga. They're a loyal, passionate, and dedicated consumer base. Conversely, the DC fan is a curator. They're driven by quality. They buy the graphic novel that gets a rave review in IGN or is recommended by a friend. They want a perfect, self-contained story. They aren't necessarily invested in the weekly grind, they're invested in the legacy of characters like Batman and Superman in their most potent, definitive forms. This isn't just about sales numbers, it's about a philosophical difference in how these companies approach their business and their fan base. Marvel is saying, come for the universe, stay for the universe. DC is quietly whispering, come for the story, and the universe will follow. The report shows that Q4 of 2024, DC was actually gaining significant ground on Marvel, even in the direct market. Is this a sign that their book channel strategy is finally starting to bleed over? Or is it a fluke? The data doesn't provide the answer definitively, but it certainly proves the rivalry is far from over. So there you have it. The Unspoken War is not a one-sided blowout, but a strategic campaign fought on two significantly separate fronts: Marvel's single-issue dominance in the direct market and DC's powerful control of the book channel. The question isn't who is winning, but rather, which field of battle is more important for the long-term health of the industry? If you want more deep dives like this, more shocking truths, and more witty analysis of the industry, then you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another episode. Now, go read comics, but read wisely. I'll see you next time for more comical opinions.